All right. Hope everybody is doing very well out there. We're about to get things rolling. Um, so, without further ado, let's see. I hope everyone is well. We get a couple things loaded up here. So tonight we're gonna be doing obviously some more live stream edits. Tonight we're gonna be focused on more like promotional side. We're gonna be doing some really dope edits with from the photo shoot. We got some BTS for last week, or was it the week before? One of those. Either way, it's gonna be dope. It's gonna be a good time. Let me mute all this jazz. So, let's see. How's everybody doing out there, though? Hope everybody is whizzle. Let's see. Almost. I have a love-hate relationship with my Apple TV. I'll say that. Trying to get everything loaded up here. Oh my goodness gracious. All right, so there we go. All right. All right, so now we're good. So let's get going. So let's go ahead and switch my view over so you guys can see what we are working on. So again, I apologize too for starting the stream a little later this evening. I decided to start later just because I was in the middle of actually putting some final touches on a rough touches on a script that we have that we're gonna be shooting here soon. So we'll talk more about that soon. But without further ado, we're gonna be working more in Adobe Premiere. Honestly, at this point, you're gonna start to see a lot of the stuff is just really repetition, same thing over and over and over again. But hopefully, this is how, at least for myself, how I lock in and retain things. So hopefully, the same for you, and that you guys are able to get something out of it. I will maybe try to show you guys a couple new things that I did recently learned myself. So we'll see how that goes. All right. So first things first, we're gonna go ahead and we're going to get everything set up here. Tom says my audio's a little low. I'm lifting it up. How we sounding now? I don't want to go too crazy. Because normally my audio is like booming and like overpowered. So sounding better now. Let's see here. So first thing we're gonna do, we're going to get our folder made. And that is all right, sweet Tom. So we sounding good. Appreciate you, big dog. And I'm trying to find how to spell this young lady's name. The model that we work with, I like to name everything based on who we're working with. All right, so and I do this way because I oftentimes when I'm adding particular content to like titles, you know, if I'm going to just say add their name or something, I like to know how to spell it. So if I spell it correctly when I put it in and I save my folder and I get everything loaded up there, right? It just makes it easier on the back end. So pardon me, I know it blacks out. You guys are unable to see. All I'm doing now is just creating my folder where I'm gonna put all the content. So I got that going there. All right, so we are almost good. And so the next thing that we're gonna do, and that is what I'm gonna show you. It'll be something different. We're gonna work with we're gonna make proxies this time. So for whatever reason, I've been having a better experience utilizing proxies here recently, just because I've been doing a little bit more effects usage and all that jazz. So, all right, and so as usual, once you guys are able to see stuff loaded up, I have everything sorted in a specific folder that I want to go to. So we're gonna go ahead and pull our info in, our footage, and I've already gone and done the hunting for the music as usual. So saves saves some time on that. Tom said booming. I just see that. All right, so let's see. We got 3 viewers out there. Appreciate y'all tuning in. All right, so now we got this loaded up. So first thing we're gonna do before we even jump in, I think part of me wants to do the proxies, part of me does not, because proxies are gonna take some time. Because it's roughly, I think it was about 30 or 40 clips or something we had. But let's say I wanted to go ahead and make proxies. All I would do is just select all of those and click create proxies. And then you can, once you have your proxies there, then you can toggle back and forth between actually bringing and using those proxies. Right now, though, our media is still just being brought into Adobe. So it's going to take a little second in order to do all that, as you guys know. So while that's still loading, though, what we're going to go ahead and do is I'll go ahead and get our sequence, our timeline made. So just like normal, I'm going to click right down here on new item here. We're going to click the sequence. And this is something I haven't shown you guys in the past, just like my sequence settings. And so you pretty much you set this and then you can change it whenever you choose. But whatever you set it as is what is going to automatically preload for your next project. So if you start this project with these particular sequence settings and you open it and start a new sequence, it's going to use the same settings that have already been, placed there. So just be mindful of that. So my settings are as such. This is what I 99, I would say like 95% of the time, this is what I'm editing in, like far as my sequence settings. DNXR, DNXHR, Ultra HD, 23.976, far as my frames per second. Always, standard stuff there as far as that. Because my camera technically isn't, it's 4K, but it's like a scaled version. Yeah, I know, Tom. Like it's weird. I don't, for whatever reason, I don't know why it doesn't show, like it grays out certain things, so you guys are limited as far as your view. So that really sucks. But anyway, damn, I wish you guys could see this. So it's not really gonna make sense for you, but I mean it's straight. It's pretty standard far as like, my sequence settings. So real quick, I'm gonna name this that way you guys can see stuff and see what's going on here. And we're gonna call this Studio BTS, and we're gonna name it after the model. All right, so boom, we got that there. So now we got our timeline set, and this is a standard timeline with all of the sequence settings that you guys were unable to see. So now let's see here. All right, so everything is loaded in. So we have all of our footage here in this folder. We have some time lapses of makeup artists. Makeup artist Miss Luz was always holding it down. And so we got some time lapses of that. And then we have all our footage here. And so then we have also our music. So I have 4 different tracks. And I did something a little different with this one. Normally, I will try to find the instrumentals with the with particular tracks as well. This one I think I only have one instrumental, then 3 different songs. So I want to see kind of how what fits the edit once we kind of start building it. So I may even swap these out, but let's listen to them really quick and see where we go with.
They tryna tell me that I'm good without you. Just stay with the things that make you feel good.
I really like this one. I think I remember this one. I yeah, it's kind of like Christmas joint, so we can't really use that. That don't make sense.
Big time, no diamonds in my teeth, I got a lot of shine. Running up the number, that's a lot of crime. Try to take it from me, must be out your mind. I'm big time, lot of slime. Smoky in the air, that's a lot of pine. Pockets running over with the dollar sign. Try to take it from me.
So we got that one. We got this. Let's see.
She want me to lock it down, but I told her to pass the key. You gotta slow it down, girl, you moving too fast for me. Nobody did it like this, so they wonder, they asking me if I can slow it down, cause it's coming too fast for me. Baby, don't try, just stop it. You should know that I got options. I be fly like I live in the cockpit. Mess around with the money, get drop kick. Only one in the city to pop quick. Never cared about being your top 10. Got a house in the hills, can you top this?
I think this might work. So we'll start with this and see how I feel about this as we kind of go and proceed through the edit. So now let's go ahead and start going through this footage here. So I kind of like to move through and do my edits in kind of stages. So you want to build your story however it makes sense for you. But again, whenever I do any edit, even if I don't write and script out a bunch of stuff and have a massive elaborate game plan, I still always have something in mind how I want the finished product to look. So for this one, I'm seeing I want to kind of build from the time lapses. So excuse me, what I mean is I want to take the time lapses and show her makeup being done. Then we're going to transition and incorporate in between some of those time lapse pieces with some slow motion, regular speed, and we're going to jump to the actual photo shoot going down. Incorporate some dope shots of Tom, photographer, and put a nice little pretty bow and button on this. So the song here is 2 minutes and 30 seconds. We'll see where we go with the footage. We got a lot of content, but I get picky, so I use what I feel or deem as the best pieces. So we may not even use all of that. So and it may be shorter and maybe longer, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes. But let's go ahead and get started. So like I said, we're gonna start with some of these time lapses. Okay, so we got that. We got this. And then that was pretty much when she was done. So boom. Just honestly, it's not long at all. So yep. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna take both of these. We'll bring them in. And as usual, we're gonna do our color correction kind of as we go along, and we'll build on that. So let's see. Now we got
that. She want me to lock it down, but she want me to lock it.
So what we're gonna actually do, because I want this to come in right as that beat kind of drops.
She want me to lock it down.
So we're gonna shave the beginning off. And also we're gonna do, you guys aren't gonna be able to see this because I'm going to drag in a folder really quick. We're gonna bring in Tom's intro that he uses for his photography stuff. And while we're at it, we're gonna go ahead and bring mine in for the editing. We'll throw that at the very end. So what am I looking for? No. Oh my goodness, man. Where is this? All right, so here's mine. And there's Tom's. Boom. All right, so let's go ahead and so let's see if we can shorten this up just a smidge. All right, so oops, so I'm gonna change the audio. Bring this. All right, and so I'm gonna show you guys this too. Like I said, I have quick keys on my keyboard, so I have my keys set up to change that. It's gonna automatically adjust to my frame size, because the frame rate that is on this particular edit here is different from the scaling on my frame, my timeline. So any clips that I bring in that are a different frame rate than the frame rate that I'm working in is going to offset. It's going to have a different size, and you have to adjust for that. So you'll see me adjust for that, and it's a quick edit, quick change for me, just because of the way I have it mapped on my keyboard. So like I mentioned, you are able to adjust your keyboard preferences by clicking up on File. You guys are unable to see this. I'll walk you through it. Let me remember where you need to go. But you go under File. It's under your preferences, actually. So you go under Edit, Preferences, and I'm using PC, so it's Edit, Preferences, and then Keyboard. And then you can map that out however you know. Oh no, I'm sorry, I'm telling you wrong. So it's keyboard, it's right under keyboard shortcuts. So you just go to File, not File, but Edit, and then Keyboard Shortcuts, and it'll show you right there. And then you can map that out however you see fit, whatever works best for your workflow. But just for me and the way that I work, that's how I set. So now, like I said, all we're going to do is just copy that. No, we don't change that. We don't want to change anything. And so we're going to fix how that comes in, because I chopped off too much. So it's slightly off beat. So we're going to bring it in on beat. And catch that guitar, that strum. Boom. And now we're going to just tuck this underneath Tom's intro here so it flows a little smooth. And then we're going to add a little crossfade on the beginning.
She want me to lock it down.
All right, so now we're going to go ahead and make some adjustments. So you look up here, we're in our color tab. So everything that we can make and all of our adjustments and all that, we will be able to do so. So another shortcut that I have is my scopes. I have that set on my keyboard as well as a quick command. So when I press the number 5, my scopes appear. So I've explained before how these scopes work. Key for great exposure and great color balance, you want to have this spread evenly across your spectrum here, but nothing clipping up here, nothing clipping down here. Below here, you're going to have your blacks. If you get too close to this, your blacks are going to be crushed. If you go up here, your highlights are going to be crushed. You're going to be overblown or overexposed. So now, what we're going to go ahead and do, we're going to use that wall to get a quick color balance on this. I always adjust my saturation to 110, just with the way my just the look that I have and I used with my Sony. And we're gonna get our blacks as close as we can without them touching too much. Now we're gonna do the same thing up here with the whites. And then let's see how contrast looks. Now we're starting to see some color and all that good stuff in here. And then you should notice that our scopes are starting to stretch, starting to expand, and starting to actually look like a good image. All right. All right, so that was before. This is what we've done so far, and this is the before, basically how it looked before. And so now we're gonna keep it simple. We're just gonna copy. We're gonna click on this clip that has not been adjusted, and we're gonna paste attributes. And that's just right click, paste attributes. And boom.
She want me to lock it.
And so now we have that. So now we're gonna go ahead and go into our footage. We got our time lapse where we want it. Kind of have a little, kind of intro, so to speak, in there. I guess we could have used some of this. So here, what we're gonna do.
She want me to lock.
And so I'm pretty sure all of this shot was shot in 120 frames a second. So it's like super, super slow-mo. Obviously, I enjoy shooting like this, and honestly, I've been tinkering more with, and you guys will see on some of the newer stuff that I'm going to be editing. It's honestly shot completely different. Like even the way that it's angled, and that's going to be fun to show you guys kind of how we go through that process of shooting in Instagram format, so to speak. So we'll talk about that on some future stuff that we got coming up. But also, yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Like I've been shooting and tinkering more with 60 frames a second, which is kind of highly taught it to shoot at. I think a lot of music videos, people say to shoot it at that because you can speed ramp and you can do a little bit more. You have a little bit more flexibility as far as manipulating the footage. But I love the way, especially when you get enough light. I love the way 120 frames looks, but it does get played out after a while if you use it or overuse it too much. So I try not to make it too stale by implementing a lot of quick cuts, and so that'll make up for some of it. I try not to let clips just drag out too long. It's just like it's super slow mo stuff. So just do a little quick boom boom. It doesn't seem too much too bad. Sure. Let's see here. So now I'm gonna change up how we're doing these. So we bring it in. And I guess to be honest, what we can do is just go ahead and control undo that. Didn't mean to do that. And we're gonna go ahead and just put the length of the song back on here. Okay, so we're gonna cut right here and kind of follow the music. And we're gonna go from that hard, super fast time lapse, and we're gonna cut to one of these angles here. I'm gonna take a little piece like that. Okay, and again, you see the sizing. This is 120 frames. I'm gonna make that fit. Boom. So I'll cut that. And before we do anything, what we're gonna do is make some adjustments. Ooh, that's off. I don't like that at all. Okay, so let's see if we can get away with just pasting attributes. Not quite. So I like the white balance. We're gonna leave the white balance where it's set the white balance at. What we're gonna do, see, as we see here, we have our blacks crushed horribly. Where it's worse at is right there. We see the shadows underneath Genevieve's chin here. As you can see, it starts to kind of look a little like almost pixelated. That means those blacks are crushed. That's what this is. Over here, it's not too much. But right here is this here. So what we're gonna do is we're just gonna bring those blacks up some. And now look at our image. Up here is this little piece here. It is not really affecting the exposure or anything like that of the image at all. So I'm not gonna worry about trying to correct this over here. There's really no need for that. But we are going to just ever so slightly bring down those highlights. Just a little bit. Bring them back. Okay, so now let's find our next clip. Where do we want to go next? Get some of Luz here. Alright, so now we're gonna boom. Just like I stated before, I'll hit a button, make that go like that. So now let's see here. And we're gonna cut here. And so you guys will start to see like kind of where I'm going with it. It's just about pacing and energy, you know, how I want it to kind of flow. So next thing we're gonna do, we're gonna copy the attributes that we have from this clip, and we're gonna paste them on this clip. And this is one thing that does happen sometimes that I don't like. We're going to undo that, undo that. Actually, we're going to Control Shift Z, and we're going to redo all of that. But actually do one more. I'm going to paste these attributes. I'm going to paste them, and then I'm actually going to remove attributes. And I'm going to try just copying these again. Yeah, it didn't fix it. All right. So I hate when it does this because you don't know which geometry one it's copying from, if it's copying from here or somewhere else, but we'll make do. And I do see one thing here that I want to fix. Seems like these images are just a little bit more contrasty than the last. So we're gonna drop that back to 50 instead of where it was. And so here I can see this image is incredibly crushed, man. Like this is bad. And that's why everything, like, it just looks kind of muddied. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna go ahead and lift these blacks. And so it just now starting to look a little bit better. We're gonna bring our contrast back some, bring that to 50. And here I'm going to lift my shadows. I don't want to lift them too much, but we're going to lift them just a little bit. Your shadows, you want your shadows to be somewhere between 50 and 100, ideally. Doesn't always work. You kind of want them like kind of in the mid range is where your shadows should be. And we're going to increase the highlights on this image. So now we're good there. So now go ahead and save. And we're going to find our next clip. So is there anything else here that I like? And so now we're going to add this piece here. And now we're kind of starting to build a story within the edit somewhat. And let's see if we can copy these attributes. Hopefully it doesn't give me a third. Oh, cool. It did it what I needed to do. Thank you. So boom, now we got those. And let's see how. Stop this about here. Bring it back just a smidge. We're gonna stop it about right there. So now it goes boom. Now we're going somewhere. Let's see where we're gonna go next though. Let's see. Kind of tight. Oh, these are kind of medium. And we're getting tighter. So what we'll do, we'll kind of go almost like a funnel. So we have kind of medium shots. We're gonna go look for some tighter ones, kind of more detailed shots like these. And then when we get to here, hopefully we can kind of expand and expound on that a little bit. So let's see if we can see if we got enough clips here in here to make that happen. So we get some of that there like that. Oh, looks decent. Let's do this here. Make that bigger. Trim this down. Just want to extend this a little bit. All right, so now we're gonna go ahead and find another tight angle. Let's see. See if we can get another one of Luz, catching more of Luz's expression. Kind of like this, showing her eyes, showing kind of deep in thought, kind of seeing where she wants to go. I like to convey that. I'm gonna bring that there. And let's see, it's gonna cut this about there. Let's see. If I cut that too short, we're not gonna hesitate because we can always do that. So I'm gonna bring it right back out. I just don't want to cut off this clip here. And that's probably gonna end up getting moved anyways, but I'll have. All right, so let's see. Oh, we didn't adjust. We didn't adjust. And this is just something too that you got to be mindful of. I know I get caught doing this a lot. Like if I'm moving through things quick, it may be a clip or so that I forget to make any adjustments on. And you can tell like immediately once you kind of get in the flow of doing this, because you can see what images are, really, really flat or just don't necessarily look right. and you make your adjustments. You go back, you take your time. Again, like this is exposed really nice. We see over here, in our scopes, that's way, overexposed technically. But those are highlights. Those are blown. That's that light over there. I'm not gonna try to compensate for that light. If this image, like if Luz's face was not lit correctly or looked really really poor, I would either not use the clip, find another piece of footage to use, or I would mask Luz out from this background, expose correctly her, then I could keep this and bring these down, whatever I need to do with that. But thankfully, we don't have to do any of that. And so another thing too that I really want to point out, like once you start to really learn how to manipulate and how to control your lighting and exposure where you want it, you can make any footage look really, really good. Because another thing I want to point out, like this is, you guys are viewing this like at half the um, the clarity, and then you're seeing it extremely scaled down via the live. Well, this is a 1080, clip right here, and it's extremely sharp, really beautiful image. So, I know like so often, I used to hear, just from researching and trying to figure out what I wanted to do and how to, do certain things. Everyone says like it's not the body, that you shoot with, as far as your camera. It's more so the operator, and that cannot be more true. Like seriously, the more familiar you get with your camera, the more you become acclimated with how to make it do what you're looking for it to do. Um, and you know how to use it. Certain lenses aren't going to allow for this kind of image just because of the amount of light that it can let in. Like if I was using, say, a lens that was an f4, or had an f-stop of, a constant f-stop, a constant f-stop, really anything higher than 2.8, which this was, is going to make it incredibly hard to get in the right amount of light to where you can expose your image correctly. And so that's just something to be mindful of. That'll be a topic for another day, because that requires my hands-on with the cameras and all that. So, but we'll get to it. We'll talk about it. And yeah, so I actually, coming back to this clip, I didn't like it. So I bumped the exposure just ever so slightly, just bumped it up by half. Not even a stop, just a half a stop. And we're going to bring the highlights down just a little bit, because I feel like the highlights are a little bit harsh when I did that. And then we're going to tinker with these shadows some. And we're going to bump the contrast back to 60 there. That looks better. And to me, this one looks a little dark as well. It's almost too bright. We'll bring the highlights back some. All right, so now let's see here. Kind of like this. Let's see if, but we want to find more tight shots. So let's see if we can find some tighter shots of our model getting her makeup done. Let's see. Now we go back to it. And see. Let's see how the edit is going.
She want me to lock it.
This one may work. Okay, so now we got that.
She want me to lock it down.
Yep, I'll take that. So we'll take this here. And what we're going to do is going to go ahead and just click here, bring that down.
She want me to lock it down. She want me to lock it down.
Ooh. So we can either do that.
Key. You got.
Let's see. What we're going to do. We're going to go ahead and get rid of that one. We're going to need that.
She want me to lock it down.
Actually, we don't.
She want me to lock it down, but I told her to pass. She want me to lock it down, but
This means we need to jump through here. It's starting to look.
she want me to lock it down.
Okay, so how this switches really hard. We're gonna often a lot of my edits I gravitate towards, like I said, the hard cuts, but hard cuts don't always look good on everything. And for something like this, it just I don't love it. So we're gonna make some adjustments. Okay, so let's see what this is looking like. So it's a little bit bright right there. So I'm gonna bring the highlights down. Love how this looks so far. Let's bring these blacks down just a smidge. See how much we can get out of that. Boom.
She want me to lock it.
So I save this. My lips are dry, so I'll put some chapstick on. Bow. I hope you're having a good time. Hope y'all are learning something. I have learned something. Because I've learned that I can only talk for about 40 minutes with my lips being dry and chapped like this. All right, so now we're rolling. So now, let's see. I'm still not wild about this image here. I think it's the color balance is off and it's throwing me. Same here. Here too. Three. Ugh.
She want me to lock it down. She want me to lock it. She want me to lock.
Okay, so I'm gonna add a little bit of movement to this baby here. I'm gonna do something neat. I'll show you something. So all we're gonna do, we're gonna play and manipulate with some keyframes. Because remember, we were supposed to get, I wanted tighter shots. So we're just gonna manipulate the keyframes to make it do what we couldn't get it to do. And all we're gonna do is shoot back on 1920 by 1080. And then scale you back to 100. We're gonna copy these and we're gonna slide it all the way to the end. So now when it plays back, it should look like this.
She want me to lock it down.
So it just adds a little bit of movement to it.
She want me to lock it down.
And then we can manipulate and play around. We can do like one that bounces in, you know, from out here, which is pretty neat. So let's say like if we wanted to use this, let's say we wanted to use this clip. Let's see, let's find something. Take this little piece here. First thing, make it bigger. Let's get the clip that we
want me to lock it down, but I told.
Actually, I don't like that.
She want me to lock it down, but I told her to pass. She want me to lock it down, but I told her to pass. She go down past me. My say they asking me. She want me to lock it down, but I told her. Lock it down, but I told her to pass.
But I don't really like this clip, but I'm gonna use it. This is not what I would put right after this clip, but just for an example purposes, I'm gonna go ahead and use it. I did not do this. We're gonna copy this one that we like. Did I like this? There we go. Now copy. And now we're gonna paste these attributes here. That looks much, much better. All right. So now come back to our effects control tab, effect controls, and we're gonna do the same thing except last time where we started at